We all agree that while push may be a great way to getting started, but propulsion is the only way to keep going. Distinguished panelists, faculty members, and students from various colleges, a very good afternoon to all of you. I, Astha Dwivedi, on the behalf of International Center for Automotive Technology, Aspire Management, let me extend a very warm welcome to all of you for joining in the webinar on impact of COVID-19 on engineering students. International Center for Automotive Technology, ICAT, located in the Northern Automotive Hub of India, is a leading world-class automotive testing, certification, and R&D service provider under the aegis of NATRIP, Government of India. Aspire is a technology platform. Aspire stands for Automotive Solutions Portal for Industry, Research, and Education. Aspire has taken an initiative of conducting various webinars on different topics, which is a part of celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which is 75th anniversary of our independence, of aiming to reinforce the Atmanirbhar Bharat in the technology area. It is our privilege to have you all with us today on this webinar. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Chadda.
Hello,
He is
everybody.
the moderator of today's webinar. Dr. Ashish Chadda is the founder and managing director of Wheeler Cleaner. He is from Aspire to Inspire as described by the Hindu. Wheeler Cleaner has become the only company in Indian retailing to be awarded prestigious awards Excellence in Innovation by Economics Times, Most Trusted Automotive Derailing Company by Global Excellence Award, Best Automotive Company by Karnataka Government. Dr. Ashish Chadda has taken his passion into different dimensions with new ventures, Mojo Jojo, Bok Choy, and Dreams Startup. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Chadda to forward the webinar. Sir, please.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Honestly, I honestly feel that that kind of introduction for me today does not make, it should not matter, because today we are amongst an august company of some distinguished individuals who have accomplished so much in their field of excellence that it's just heartwarming to see each one of you. It's one of those rare occasions where all our participants are getting to see each one of you and hear the words of wisdom. I would like to begin with saying a few words. You know, there's a saying that every legend was once born, every teacher was a student, every guide was once a seeker. So one such seeker that we have with us today, once a student back just in 1992, with dreams to make a difference. And what difference she made, from Rico Industries to Honda, to gaining and providing expertise in emerging technology areas of powertrain, passive safety, fatigue, EMC, NVH. I can keep going on. Being a part of a massive government-funded projects with over volume of 3,000 crores. In 2010, she took charge of the powertrain department of ICAT, one of the leading homologation centers in the country, in addition to the equipment planning and procurement activities, contributing leaps and bounds to its progress. You know, an international and a national presenter, a vital cog in the wheel of SAE. I can't say any more. Let's give a warm welcome to Srimati Pamela Tikuji.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you. That was really heartening to see my introduction being made so elaborate. I really didn't know that I achieved so many things in my career, because one gets embroiled in our day-to-day activities, and interesting. Yeah, of course, it's been a long journey, and it has been an interesting journey for me. Thank you so much. I guess I would just like to thank everybody for participating in today's event. As has been mentioned, that ICAT is an international center for automotive technology, is a center for automotive testing, homologation, development, and R&D, which was set up under NATRIP in Northern Hub of Automotive Industry. And this center has been functional, giving services to the industry for last 16 years now. From 2006 onwards, we have been providing services. But recently, government under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, this happened post-COVID when there was a massive lockdown in 2020. A lot of industry faced supply chain issues. There is a huge dependence of industry, not only auto industry, on the supply chain from China. And at that point of time, although there was a knee-jerk reaction by Government of India in stopping all imports from China, later on, government did realize that this is going to impact the Indian economy in a big way. So then they did ease out certain provisions of imports, and currently also there are a lot of products which are being imported from China. This actually created a thought process that any economy as big as Indian economy and as growing as an Indian economy cannot have so much of dependence on their own sustenance for a country through which will become vulnerable, economically as well as other aspects. Politically also, this cause instability. And government started this initiative called Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, wherein a resolve has been taken that we need to create our industry self-reliant. It should be, but it cannot happen overnight. You cannot think today, okay, I want to become self-reliant and every product will be developed in India from tomorrow onwards. And product like automotive is very complex engineering. It's a multi-engineering combination now. Earlier it used to be a purely mechanical product. Now it's no longer a purely mechanical product. It's basically 4 wheels or 2 wheels or 3 wheels which are run by computers, electronics. So it's become more complex. So to develop and keep pace with this developing technology and emerging technology, government thought that we need to create an ecosystem wherein innovation development can happen. And recently, the erstwhile Minister of Heavy Industry, Mr. Javadekar, launched 6 technology portals, and Aspire is one of the technology portal under Minister of Heavy Industry, wherein we are trying to bring industry, academia, students, startup, experts on one platform, wherein the solutions seekers, maybe an industry, maybe an innovator, maybe a student, poses a problem for which they are seeking a solution, a technological solution, and there will come on board certain solution providers, certain experts who can collaborate and come join hands together and develop that technology, develop that capability. So this is the whole objective of Aspire. Under Aspire, we have a governing board comprising of over 40 industry leaders. Mr. C.V. Raman is the president of the governing board. Mr. Nirmal Minda is the vice president of the governing board. So we have very good industry leaders on board for our who advise us how we can take in activities under Aspire forward. And under this governing board, we have created 18 sub-boards for different areas wherein we need to focus for technology development. One of the sub-boards under this governing board is focusing on student engagement program. So how students, and there is a lot of focus being given by government by ministry. I think you might have heard also. Yesterday, our Honorable Prime Minister was talking that we need to create skills, we need to create specialized skills in the country. So there's a lot of focus in bringing skilling, high-end skilling in India. And that can only happen through a very intense and very rigorous interaction of students community with the industry. Students have to be inquisitive, so students have to show their enthusiasm to come forward and partner. They are going to learn by this activity only. Um, in India, we don't have this culture of learning while studying. We have a culture of study while studying only. Okay, I'm sorry to say that I'm here in front of very august professors and teachers, but being in industry for so many years, I don't find that we have students who are industry ready. We don't have students who have hands-on experience on technologies. We lack in this. We see there are other countries, wherein students are made to work in industry while they are studying. They have internship programs. They have projects which they run parallelly through industry. They may be spending half of this semester on the campus and half of this semester in a research lab or in an industry. While we don't have a similar scenario here in India. So this is a situation which we all need to address. We need to do something about it. And everybody is aware of it. Although skill development initiative government of India has taken in a big way, but I would say that is focused on a very low level skilling up. ITI, mechanics, and apprenticeship level skilling. I'm talking of skilling of engineers, talking of skilling of PhD scholars, talking of skilling of MTech students. You don't find that skill sets being provided here in our ecosystem to the students. So that's why there is a lot of brain drain from happening in India. We have a lot of graduate engineering students who study in India, but many of them go out of the country to further their education because that provides them probably a hands-on experience and a better experience. I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons. Having said so this particular education and student engineering board has a very important activity and responsibility towards the society. So we need to collectively develop certain mechanisms how a student and industry engagement can be enabled. How can we bring students on board? I mean, when we started this Aspire technology portal, none of the students showed interest in, getting themselves registered. So they thought this is one of those websites where people just try to register. But our whole objective is to bring on board a student community, give an exposure of a student community to an industry so that they can interact, they can have a discussion forums on board. They can make the portal interactive, they can make the portal interesting wherein solutions can be talked, discussed. They may be absurd solutions, maybe, but there can be something which can be discussed. Something can come out of an absurd solution also. So this education and engineering student board engagement has a very important role to play. Having said so, today's topic of this webinar is basically how COVID has impacted the engineering students, correct, Ashish? This is what the topic is about, right?
Yes, that's primarily
Yeah.
what we are concentrating on today.
Yeah. So I'm saying that as such, we had certain shortcomings in our education system in providing the exposure to the industry, to the engineering students. COVID has created all the more bigger challenges. So for last 2 years, students have not had an exposure of attending physical classes. They have not had exposure to attend physical laboratories. Everything is happening virtually. Yes, teacher engagement program has happened virtually. I'm sure the teachers had to do lot of learning to deliver whatever they could confidently deliver in a physical form, in a virtual form. Because in a physical form, you have an interactive session and you can understand and gauge the students who are there participating with you. While in a virtual form, it's not possible to engage with so many students in one go. So I think you might have had to remodule your lecture modules. Would have had to remodule your curriculum also. And I don't know how you would be engaging them in practical experiences. For example, there is a laboratory experience, there is an experimentation part of the education, which is missing a big way in the present scenario. I think for students, it has been a difficult time for last 2 years. They miss their community, they miss their kinship. Students learn in group activities through discussions. I think which is missing. So for them also, it's a very challenging task, both physically, emotionally, and the factor of uncertainty. What will happen? Whether we will be accepted in industry once we graduate with such 2 years of virtual education. How will our experience be judged by the industry? So these are really difficult questions for them and difficult times for them, and it's very stressful emotionally for the students. I think that we should, as a board, sub-board, devise certain programs, certain challenges on which can be put on virtually, which can be engineering problems put on virtually. There is a lot of things which we can do through simulations. So maybe simulation problems can be thrown through virtually. So having said so, the student of COVID era is a different student. A parent of COVID era is a very different parent. A parent has an uncertainty. There is a whole lot of stress both at home. It's easy to say work from home. It's not easy to work from home. Honestly, ask me. I mean, I am working from home, so I have to look at. I from one meeting to another meeting, in a gap of a few minutes, even less than sometimes a minutes. So even for students, I see although not an engineering student, my nieces who are school going students, they're hooked to a laptop since morning. So physical contact, physical experience is a big miss. So maybe today's panel can throw certain light how to overcome these challenges, how to enable these challenges, and how to help emotionally students to be stronger to face this challenge. With these words, I once again thank everybody of you today present here to talk on this very important subject, and let's see how we can bring out something out of this discussion today, which we can organize through our Aspire portal also, or otherwise also. We are open for other solutions also. So thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Dr. Ashish.
Thank you, Tikuji. This was absolutely needed. You touched some of the raw nerves, which is the need of the hour. I'm so glad that the students who are listening to you, you've not tried to sugarcoat anything. You've started this webinar on the right foot for the rest of the prestigious panelists to follow. This was absolutely inspiring. Nothing less was expected from you. Thank you so much, Tikuji. So,
thank you so much.
After those wonderful, inspiring words, and after those, snippets of wisdom and enlightenment, I like to go ahead and move on to the next panelist. Now, I've spoken to him myself. Imagine you're going to hear somebody who's a director of key group of institutions, but the first words that came out of him was, "My passion lies in making engineers that serve the society and not just engineers." And those are very inspiring words. Dr. Garg is currently serving as the director, Keat Group of Institutions, Delhi NCR Ghaziabad. He possesses over a massive and valuable 34 plus years of experience in industry and academics, and is known for leading various changes in various organizations, and that's the key. And he's the right person to give us an overview because he's always seen things holistically and tried to give his input for the betterment. And Dr. Garg also holds, I don't have to tell you guys, BE in mechanical engineering from Delhi College of Engineering, batch of 1986. Dr. Garg, we could not be more pleased to have you here, and your words still ring in my ears, and I'm sure you're holding those words true, and you've created a lot of engineers that are changing the society. The stage is your, doctor. We really welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ashish, for so elaborate and so good introduction of mine. I'm really overwhelmed. Good afternoon, Srimati Pamela Tikuji, Honorable Chief Guest of this webinar, my other colleagues, speakers, and all the participant students and faculty. Welcome to this discussion on very important, relevant topic of impact of COVID-19 on engineering students. To give you an overview of the present situation, let me first share the national landscape. I think that's very important for all of us to understand the real problem thereafter. India, we have got close to 1,040 universities and 42,000 plus colleges and 11,000 plus standalone institutions, that is including the polytechnics and diploma colleges. Now, out of all this, approximately 420 universities and 24,000 colleges are located in the rural areas. And about 50% of the strength of our country, they belong to the underprivileged, that is about, who are in the OBC or other reserved categories. No, so this changes the entire understanding once we are sitting in metropolitans like Delhi, Pune, or other places, vis-a-vis what the ground reality is. So my overview is going to be more based on these facts of the ground, and we need to understand what are the real challenges, the challenges because of the pandemic, and challenges without the pandemic also, which will go together. And next about 10 minutes time or so, probably I'll be able to make my points on these very important aspects. I'll say last year, March, everybody was caught with a surprise. And initially I used to mention that the pandemic brought a lot of good to the education industry. And it was everybody enjoyed experimenting. We as an academic institution, we hip hop from one platform to another. We did a lot of hits and trials, and finally we could settle with a particular learning management system. Our faculty, even the leadership positions at various levels, they were not very comfortable in using the technology. This kind of an online webinar today, what we are attending, is probably one of the benefits of this pandemic, where we could comfortably attend, we could comfortably talk, and that is what I think all the academic institutions across the country, they went through. Digital literacy, the online tools, everything we could learn in about 3 to 4 months time. And also the fear of technology was overcome, and even the institutions, they did the online mentoring. We could do the mentoring of the students. We could also meet with the parents. We could do the online internships. The international speakers got connected to us without their physical movement here in India. Faculty got empowered, as Teku ma'am mentioned. The teaching was a challenge, but then quickly the faculty, they started recording their videos, and it became very handy. You could hear the institutions, a large number of institutions, they had a good number of videos recorded by the faculty sitting at their home, and they could put it on their website, onto the learning management system created by the colleges. But then there has been a disparity in the infrastructure. Now, the two basic tools for any organization, and primarily for the academic institutions, I say that they are a very good ERP solution and a good learning management system. Now, these are still not existing in most of the colleges, other than the tier 1 or maybe some tier 2 colleges. But what about the colleges which are there in tier 2 and tier 3 cities? Virtually there is no LMS, virtually there is no ERP. So that thing which came out very, very clearly, very, very glaringly during this period. But I think overall the learning was good, and the last year in the month of August, once we started the new semester, we all were reasonably equipped very well to take on the challenges, and the learning continued. We did a better job. But now, sitting here in the month of July in 21, 1.5 years we are into this online mode. Now there is an absolute pandemic fatigue. Now the pandemic is bringing lot of issues now. And those issues are really the ones which we are not sure, and everybody is now looking forward for the solutions where we can physically meet in the campuses, and where we can see, how we can learn while meeting each other. Staying indoors has created havoc in the minds of the young generation. Now you see the outdoor activities had been converted to indoor activities, physical activities to mental activities, physical classrooms they converted into the digital classrooms. Now another point what all of us must see, the majority of India, they large number of them, they lost the jobs. The institutions which I am referring to, tier 2 and tier 3 institutions, the students who come from the families, there have been a lot of problem as far as the jobs of the parents are concerned. And on top of that, there was an additional requirement of having a good hardware, a computer or a tablet. That is what minimum is required for the online learning. But then there are not even the smart telephones in most of the places, and there are cases where the phones were shared between the students. There were problems where there was no privacy for the students to attend to the classes, because in a one-room set or in a two-room set, hardly there is any personal space for any of the students. So these are the problems which have been faced by the students. Initially, it was very well experimented, enjoyed. Everybody enjoyed the company of the students, and we as parents also felt that our children are staying with us. But now we are feeling that more than that, it is eating into the learning curves, the psychological, emotional balance of the students, and even the faculty also. I feel to some extent it is happening. Now, earlier we had physical classes and we were close to the real world, and now we are into the virtual classroom where we are close to the virtual world. We are getting more and more close to the virtual world and deviating from the real world. There has been a lot of technical problems, as I mentioned. Now, in one of the surveys I was going through, it came out very clearly that there has been a technical problems because of the infrastructure, because of the internet connectivity. About 25% of the students, they found the online submission of assignments or quizzes, there was a difficulty in about 25% of the submissions. Also, the learning and teaching challenges have been increasing. Now you find that physically, once a student is in the classroom while we are teaching, he's there in the classroom. And in the virtual classroom, you're not sure whether he's there or not, because he'll just switch off the camera and then he'll just go away. Now we have been finding that the students are just coming to the classroom without taking even the basic showers, and you're not sure whether he's there or he has gone for his breakfast or lunch. So I think overall it has led to a loosening of the discipline, the lack of discipline. Imagine a student of a 2-year program like the MBA or MCA. He has taken admission to the institution, and his 1.5 years of stay so far out of 2 years is already on the online mode. There is no physical interaction with his peer group. Another learning and teaching challenge, I find that the writing skills of the students have reduced. Once a student is there in the class, there is a teacher in front, then the habit of the student is that whatever teacher is saying, he is noting it down, writing it down. But that thing is gone totally now. There is no writing skills. And we have seen in the recently conducted semester examinations, the student had done very badly as far as the writing exams are concerned. They could not even write the examinations properly because there was no habit of writing now. Habit has gone. Similarly, the lack of sufficient hands-on training, what was being said by my previous speaker. Now, virtual lab is no solution. We have been taking the virtual labs for the students, but that is possible more for the circuit branches. But what about the mechanical engineering students, civil engineering, electrical and electronic students? Now, what we had done to come out of it is we called our technicians They carried out a live demonstration and recording of the video lectures, and then they put it onto the portal. But then that is not the solution. It is impacting the psychology of the students because they are not able to handle the problems physically. Similarly, you find there is a lack of engagement in the classes. There is a difficulty in maintaining focus by the students. In the same study which I was mentioning, about 70% of the students, they have complained that they are not able to focus in the online classes. There has been a reported body fatigue, eye fatigue, and by attending multiple online sessions. And the students are lacking the social disconnection from the classmates, the peer-to-peer learning. That is also being felt to a large number of students. About 80 to 90% of the students now, they keep requesting now. They are looking for an opportunity. They are fed up of staying at home. They want that, sir, we should be given the permission to come to the hostels or to the classes where we would like to meet all our friends, and we would like to enjoy the campus life, which is also very, very important in addition to the technical learning. Also, a very important point about the guidance from the faculty. There is no clear guidance which as a faculty we can impart to the students in an online mode, and that is very, very clear. As a faculty, if I am trying to drive home a point to a student, unless I see him physically, his body language, whether he's able to understand or not, that satisfaction as a faculty probably we are also not getting. In addition to this, the industrial visits are absolutely out. We tried to organize the virtual industrial visits, but then definitely it could not solve the kind of a purpose which we were looking for. And we have been working on all academic institutions. We understand that there is a need to make the students industry ready, and thereby there is a need to give the problems to the students as the industrial projects where they can solve these things, and probably that would be a real learning for the students, and that is what is required. So that opportunity is also probably not there, and that is again a very, very important aspect of the current scenario in the current pandemic, which is showering on all the students of the BTech or maybe other disciplines of studies, including management and computer applications, and even the pharmacy students as well. My fellow speakers are going to talk more on the digital evaluation and the placement challenges which is being felt, but I definitely would like to mention that there has been a problem in the digital evaluation. Online methods are not very, very effective. You're not sure whether the student is able to cheat, he's cheating, or he's able to write honestly. You're not sure. At times we have found the student is not writing the examination at his home. It is somebody else who has written the examination. There is no proctoring tools which are available, and the proctoring tools which are there, they are quite expensive, which probably cannot be afforded by the tier 2 and tier 3 institutions to a large extent. Placements have been challenges more for the core sectors, I will say. In the circuit branches, there has been an improvement of the placement. There is no doubt about it. But then one more thing has come out very, very clearly. The automobile sector and the civil sector, the job numbers have reduced. So what is required to be understood by the academic institution is that the companies are now looking for the required skill sets. They are not concerned whether the student is from a particular branch. So the students from the core branches especially, they need to acquire the programming skills as well. They need to be the coders. They don't need to be perfectionist. They can't be at par with the computer branches, but then they need to upgrade themselves. That thought process has to be understood by the students and by the institutions, that we need to upgrade the skills. Everybody, all institutions, every student has to have a programming language as the third language in the institution. Unless they do that, they will not be global citizens, and their employability would be restricted once they pass out from the institution. Finally, what I would like to say that the pandemic has given us a lot of learning. Now we are facing the problems, but what is required to be done post-COVID era is that the learning should not be allowed to fade away. That's extremely important. The confidence what our faculty has gathered during this period for recording the classes, taking online classes, having the international speakers connect to us, connecting with the parents in an online mode, doing a mentoring to the students at any time. that kind of a connect what we have learned during this period, that should not be allowed to go away. That's very, very important, because once things become normal, we should not go back to a pre-COVID era. We have to ensure that these learnings remain with us in various proportions, and that is what the responsibility of all the institution is. I'm sure that the blended model is what I'm referring to. That blended model should be adopted, and the higher order thinking skills, which will lead to better industry preparedness of the students, that is what needs to be adopted. Now the student, they are stopping to come to the classes for those faculty who are just covering the topic which is elsewhere is available, though those contents are elsewhere, otherwise they are available on the internet. No, they don't want to come to those classes. They will come to those classes only for the attendance. But what we need to do is we have to record the videos, and that video has to be put onto the portal beforehand. Classrooms, physical classrooms should be more for a discussion, where the higher order thinking skills in terms of the projects, in terms of solving society or industry problems should be taken up in the classes, where the classes can be interesting, and we can really have number of projects when the students come out of the college. If each student is able to give 2 to 3 projects while he is studying during his 4 years of study as an engineering student, then I think it's going to be a win-win situation. We would be producing the experienced freshers, not the raw freshers, and the requirement of the industry is also going to be met to a large extent. And so this is what I would like to say. And I think the definition of BC and AD, that also is going to change. I say very fondly, now BC would stand for before COVID, and AD would stand for after COVID. BC and AD. The academic word is going to be different in a pre-pandemic era and the post-pandemic era. That is what I wish, and that is what the learning all of us need to take, and that is what probably our students who are there present in this forum, they also need to understand that we need to make best use of the technology, this opportunity, so that we can make better students and better India and better world, and we soon become a developed country from what we are passing through being a developed country. These are my thoughts on it. Thank you very much, and thanks again for giving me this opportunity, for sharing my views and setting the agenda for this particular beautiful discussion, which my fellow panelists are going to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garg. It was wonderful. You laid down the entire agenda of things to follow so beautifully. It was inspiring. Nobody could have said it better when you say the pandemic has brought the whole world together digitally, but yet somewhere isolated each one of us, and that's a big takeaway. That's a very big takeaway. I hope that everybody listening to this discussion ponders over that point, because you're right, the pandemic fatigue, as you correctly mentioned, has crept in everybody's life. So thank you so much for those lovely word of wisdom, and we're very, very thankful to you. Now coming to the next panelist, listening to each one of them is such an honor, and it's so inspiring. The next panelist, someone who describes himself as a teacher by passion and a guide by nature, not by profession. And those are very big words. The pride that I could hear in his voice when he said that, I am a teacher born to a teacher. And that just summarizes his entire journey, the pride in his voice. So head of mechanical engineering department from the lovely place, Solapur, I would like to go ahead and invite Dr. Srinivas Methan to please take us through the very important topic that was reflected upon, online learnings and teaching. So Dr. Methan, the stage is yours, and we are ready to listen to your words of wisdom so that every one of us can learn more about what you have to share with us.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. Am I audible?
Absolutely, Dr. Methan, you're very much audible. Please continue.
Thank you. And just I want to share the screen, and then I will come to my topic. So yes, now the two giants in this domain, that is Srimati Pamela Tikku ma'am, and even our Honorable Dr. Amit Garg sir. I have met him. He may or may not be remembering me. 2006, I have met him in one of the conference. So
Okay.
yeah. With
Yes, yes, I
these,
recall.
stalwarts, right? And they have shown, means thrown some challenges to the teachers as well as to the students, right? And one of the statement right now I have wrote is learning should not be fed away. You're rightly pointed out, sir. So that is a challenge being a teacher we are supposed to take in future. And ma'am also told that, yeah, teachers have to learn more. So this is again a challenge which we as a teacher uh, should accept. And there are a lot of problems and there are a lot of good solutions for these problems also. Just what I will do is I will just take our own conventional method of representing it. So how this may be little bit, you can say, sticky to us, but once I go what we did or what we are planning or planned and executed, that may give, you can say, some inputs to the August gathering who faculty and student who are here. So I'm starting my session, that is online teaching and learning platform, which is a challenge now. And the content I have presented in front of you, want to present in front of you is, yeah, conventional teaching, then innovative online teaching platforms which are there for the faculty members, and student do's and don'ts and faculty members do's and don'ts, and one case study. Just to throw a preamble, everybody knows that attending college is a really, you can say, happy situation for all the student. And right now it is not existing. Doing the practical hands-on is again a very exciting thing. Engineering student, even in a group study. So this is a real, I think, our conventional college. Now, what we have gone through is online. Today also, we are taking this particular session online. If I might have taken this session in front of my student, my facial expression, my gestures, and my, you can say, the way in which I try to convince or force my words, that may be seen by the student, and that is one of the appealing thing, and that is what we people are missing as a teacher. There is a confusion now. So what to do? So rightly pointed out, Garg sir, that yeah, blended module one has to go for, that is online learning. There should not be a battle between online learning versus a traditional learning. There should be a blended model, and that particular blended model with some of the advantages and disadvantages I want to discuss here. Yes, everybody knows there are some of the traditional teaching. I love to go again to school and learn from my primary school teacher or secondary school teacher. So does our panelists, some of them, because that was a very, you can say, innovative teaching learning process when we were learning. Now the learning had changed to computerized, and then laboratories were well equipped. Still there were some, you can say, advantages and disadvantages. So brick and mentor education was the name given by, you can say, some of the experts. And the advantages were, yeah, there were a direct interaction between the teacher and student. Still in COVID pandemic situation, can we do that? Yes, we can. I will give you some of the inputs to you. Then provide a healthy competitive environment to the student. Yes, can we give that advantage again to the student? I will not say all the 100% student from my class, but definitely those who are really eager to learn and eager to follow and passionate about their career. Yes, we can give them a competitive environment, what we are giving right now. Yeah, good classroom communication. This can be done a little bit the way in which we can in a group. Yes, this was an advantage. Then equal attention to every student in the class. That was one of the teacher's advantage when he was teaching the traditional way. And then this is also not missing, I will say, extracurricular activities. What do you mean by say here extracurricular activities is students are given a task that the various non-technical competitions also, right? So extracurricular activities and technical competitions also we were giving to the student. Still it is possible online. Then enhancing the conceptual level of student. Sometimes we can also judge the student by his face, whether he is understanding or not. And then we again wanted to pour the next level of, you can say, knowledge to him, so that he will go just like a Bloom's taxonomy, what sir has told right now, from you can say understanding, applying, analyzing, and the evaluating, and ultimately creating. Still, we can go for the last stage, creating. I will give you one case study about it. And some of the doubts and questions can be straightway, means we can solve with each other when in a conventional tradition. Yes, there were some limitations or some disadvantages of our conventional systems. Those particular conventional systems, such as requires physical presence at the fixed time. Being a mechanical engineer, sometimes yes, because we want to go for a lot of competitions. We need some time more than theory classes, so we were bunking the classes and we are going for those things. The student who are very very good in you can say keeping his time management, he has an advantage in the right now system, then get less time for the sub study. This was one of the problem, because a lot of times in metropolitan cities, student goes utilizing their more time in traveling. Then yeah, schedule was fixed. Sometimes if the schedule is fixed, it is monotonous. Student get, you can say, even faculty gets bored, right? So some of the faculty members lectures are on ground, yeah, boring, because rightly pointed out, only they teach theoretical aspect, and they were more interested towards making the student as a good, you can say, examine given student, or we call it as in Marathi we call it as a pariksharthi. But we want to make that particular vidyarthi, means that particular vidyarthi who can go further in his career and make his you can say career brighter. Then some of the yeah, if we come online offline, then the tuition fees is some of the problem in tier 2 city, that also I had highlighted. So these are some of the limitations. Then yeah, one of the online teaching learning now which we are experiencing, which is a new for us also. Last I think March 2019 this was new for us, but March 2020, I beg your pardon, 20, but March 2021 we are very flexible now, we are used to that particular system. So some of the advantages are definitely there, so which we should think about. Flexibility to the student. Yeah, student can manage his time, own time, and student can think, yeah, these are the classes I'm supposed to give these 4 hours out of my 24 hours to the classes, and I have got some do's and don'ts for the student who are listening my session. You people are lucky, on the contrary, I can say, to some extent, because you can choose your slot now. 4 hours only I'm supposed to sit in front of the teacher, try to understand his knowledge, get his knowledge, and utilize his knowledge for whatever I want to be, right? Then customized learning experience is there. Yes, we can customize our learning experience. We can make a small group, and to those groups we can teach according to their requirement. So just like a slow learner, we can do that. Then there are a lot of data available on internet, so different courses are available. We can suggest our student that if you want to do, suppose, a mechatronics related subject, being a mechanical engineer, why don't you do the electronics aspects of it? So all these particular things, right, is very very important, and these are the you can say advantages which we can take it from the student perspective. Yes, we can customize the learning experience, time and cost effective. All these are some of the advantages which because of time I will not take it to the level which otherwise I wanted to, but I will brief the important aspects of what I want to cover it here. Now, yes, there are some limitations what already our one of the panelists has told us, right? The limitation is the money. So we have to purchase the technical equipment and good internet connectivity. Really in tier 2 city, it is very difficult. Being a engineering college also, sometimes it is difficult to cope up with this. And even parents have lost the jobs. But still, colleges can take one step ahead. What we did was our computers, those were idle. Those needy and very bright students, we had given them home, and we had taken the undertaking, and at free cost, we have not charged anything. So now around 70% of the PCs from my department are with the student. So this is how we can counter those particular limitations of online. Then, yeah, students should be self-motivated and self-disciplined, which is again a challenge being a teacher. Then hard to use some academic fields. We can't, just rightly pointed out by Sir Amit Garg sir, you should know, being a mechanical engineer, you should know electronics, you should know computer science engineering. So some aspects of this, but due to this you can take it. Then yeah, then next part I want to go is, what are the different online teaching learning platform? If some of the faculty members are present on the this particular meeting, then they know that, but just I wanted to brief that there are some good platforms are also available. Zoom is what a lot of student faculty members have previously used. Then WebEx is one of them. Then yeah, this is, these are the list. Skype is one of them. Then Adobe Connect is also one of the option available. To GoToMeeting is also one of the options. So these are, Microsoft Team is one of the option available. But being a teacher, when I want to use these types of, you can say, online teaching platform, I should consider students internet and students mobile means problems also. What I want to mean, what I mean to say is, yeah, bandwidth. For example, if I go for Microsoft Team, then the maximum number of student can enroll is 250. That is also one of the consideration. Being a tutor, we should know. Then what is the consumption? What is the bandwidth? What is the internet consumption per hour? That study also we should do. So around, if I go for, you can say Microsoft or even Zoom is giving less. So it is giving around 180 MB per hour, whereas our Microsoft Team is consuming around 200 to 250 MB per hour. So these surveys a faculty should do when he or she wants to give these types of platform to the student, because battery consumption is again one of the problem. So this is what, for that sake only, these are some of the online teaching platform which we should do. Yeah, there are some of the do's and don'ts for the student and to the faculty members as per the discussion with the sir, right? So student should, first I will talk to the student. You should be punctual, you should log in time. This is what the difference I see from German and Indian, you can say, student. So German student are 5 minutes before than the Indian student. I'm not saying every Indian student, I'm saying in general. I completed a master's from RWTH Aachen, Germany, where myself has to be there 5 minutes before my professor in the class. This is a habit, right? Then complete the given task before coming to the class. Whatever assignment tasks were given, please complete those particular tasks. Therefore, what happens, you know, whatever Amit Garg sir was talking about, writing has been minimized. Being a faculty, I should give the assignments, I should give a lot of work to the students so that they should get engaged. I'm very happy to say that in tier 2 city student, right, the conversion rate of the assignment is around 90%. If I give anything to them, with 90% of the student can send it to me, the assignment, in the stipulated time. Then draw the class notes. I ask my student, whenever you are sitting for the class, then please keep pen and paper with you. And how we can cross check as a teacher whether that guy is doing or not? After immediately completion of the class, those student has to submit that whatever rough sketch or rough handwriting they did during the class, rough notes, submit it on the WhatsApp group or subject WhatsApp group. So I will understand who is doing or who is not doing. Set up your space. Yeah. At the same time, sit peaceful place. These are some of the things being tier 2. I have to tell my student. And yeah, connectivity is also one of the problem, but still it has been now, a student has to take care of that. Then mute your audio while entering in the class. And a lot of time, a lot of funny incidences happen because of the student, right? Then this is what I request my student. Please ask the question to the teacher during the session. It is very important. Don't leave the student, don't make the faculty member as alone. Ask him questions repeatedly and participate in the discussion. Instead of mobile, use laptop or tab. That is one of the advantage, because the problem to their eyes. So this is again you should take care of if you have got. Then submit the task on the WhatsApp group immediately. This is what I told already. कि अगर हमारा आज lecture हो गया, once I complete my lecture, immediately within 3 minutes, all the students should submit it. Otherwise, their attendance will not be marked. Something should be explained. Then you are supposed to, sometimes you ask the student to conduct the session rather than making every session of your own. 20-30 minutes, give some PPT, ask the student, just be aside and try to help them. Then students should be engaged throughout the session, and don't hide your identity. Sometimes what happened right now also, I'm hiding my identity as far as face is concerned, but my voice is there. So so please try to understand these are some of the things which you really want to be a good student, and don't avoid late coming, avoid comfort while learning. We know as a teacher, even sometimes we catch also. Students are learning in their bed, students are just sleeping and they are listening to us. Sometimes their mother is listening where the student is not listening, right? He is keeping in the mobile in the kitchen. Lot of things are happening. Avoid simultaneous activity. The class is going on, he is on the Twitter or he is on the Facebook. So please try to avoid those. Those will not give you the, you can say, whatever you are thinking your career. Then ignore unnecessary additional online resources. This is my request to the student. There are a lot of material available online, but try to consult you with your teacher once you do that online surfing. Send him the data, whether it is appropriate, just get it corrected and then use it for your examination, or forget about examination, about your further project or something you people are doing. Don't leave the class in between. So these are some of the things which students should avoid. So this again, the faculty members, those who are there, yes, these are some of the very simple things which one should do. Sending the class link well before the time, sometimes which happens, or sometimes which does not happen. Faculty should be present 5 minutes before the time. And always, whenever you are starting the session, please give what will be the outcome of today's session. Then please try to use PPTs, videos, and whiteboard sharing the screen board. All those concepts are already there. So try to be something innovative. So do some innovation. Try to be your own videos prepared. Try your student to make the videos and present it for you, right? Then only allow the registered student. This is sometimes one has to take care of, right? Then keep the interactive sessions by the student. I request all the faculty members, out of 1 hour, if you are conducting a session, then minimum you can say 40%. If you are talking 20%, 40 minutes you are talking, 20%, 20 minutes student should talk. So that will make real class, you can say, whatever we are talking right now. Then create a separate WhatsApp group for separate subjects. So being a teacher, I am a teacher, I have got my own engineering graphics separate WhatsApp group, and each and every data I collect it on that WhatsApp group, whatever I do as far as the subject related matter is concerned. Innovative online examination to be conducted, I will tell you. So this is a challenge. Some of the points sir has asked, that student is not writing the examination. For that, one solution we had, very simple solution. We have taken online examination of all the students, and their parents were their you can say invigilators, and they were sitting just right to the student. In tier 2 it may be possible because mothers are free. So their mother was the invigilator, she was sitting aside, and constantly we were watching both. And at the end of the examination, she is supposed to sign and submit that particular document. So these are some of the innovative, something out of the box we should think about. Then record your videos and events and practicals. So these are the things which already a lot of faculty members are doing, but how innovative you are, that matters. I will say why you do that. Ask your student also to do the conceptual videos, conceptual record, give them the task, right? And they will prepare better than us, and that will give them more advantage of learning. Then yes, be sure that be sure that whatever syllabus assignment, whatever you are doing, is you are really assessing it. Sometimes professor, what do you know, a lot of times the data comes, it will be in their Google Drive, they won't see, but please check those particular assignment and give it to them. Then last but not the least is, you should be helping to the student not only from the technical aspects but also in general. You should be 360-degree mentor of that student. It is very difficult for each and every student, but we can make a batches of the student due to the teacher, and he will be the mentor. So these are some of the do's in online, because following up is very important thing in online process. Believe me, after every 15 days, our faculty members are calling to each parent and each student, because they have assigned 20 students each. I am having 400 students, 20 faculty members and 20 students each. Every 15 days, they are conducting the online, you can say, parents meet, and they are interacting with them. Online is possible for them. So this is what we can have some solutions. Again, these are some of the things which one should avoid. Don't assume that student will be able to attend the class synchronously, right? Just cross check that. Don't change your learning outcomes. Whatever you had taught, you decided today, please that learning outcome at the end you reflected. Don't be rigid, too rigid. If I am teaching, I will teach in that direction only. Sometimes you are supposed to modify your, or you're supposed to change your strategy during the class also. Online class is more compared to your offline class. Don't go it alone. Sometimes the faculty members only read whatever PPTs are there. Don't do that. Try to get engaged. If video is there, that is a great, you can say, effect. Then yes, assignment, this is one of the solution whatever we were discussing about, right? So you frame the assignment in a such a way that it will be industry ready questions. Have an interaction with the industry expert, take the questions from them related to your subject, and put those only your assignments now online, because students have got time, they can browse and they can give the solution. Do not refuse to answer the student's question, right? Do not make your student feel uncomfortable in the classroom. How much notorious the student may be, let him be a part of the system. And then you call him and try to tell him what exactly he or she should do afterwards. So do not, you can say, absent for your own classes. Sometimes would happen. Follow your given timetable. Ignore the feedback of do not ignore the feedback given by the student, right? Online feedback, which is important. And do not assume that I know everything. Always get refreshed, right? So these are some of the things faculty should do. Yes, virtual laboratories sir has talked about, and this is a Ministry of Education, Government of India. They have got bright objectives about it. Their philosophy is fantastic. Silent features are good. All the IITs and regional colleges are having their own virtual laboratories, but how to use those laboratories are important. At the same time, creating your own videos and sending it to the student is second option. But believe me, the best option is giving the student the mini project and asking 3-4 students to assemble and do the project, which we are doing. And in that project, mix the subjects, theory of machine, design, or even manufacturing, all those subjects mixed together. That will be one of the solution for this. Just last 3 minutes I will take. What we are doing as a mechanical engineering student or Orchid Engineering College, we are going for the regular online classes only, you can say 3 hours or maximum 4 hours a daily. Then regular virtual laboratories, every day we are conducting one virtual laboratory. Fortunately, we are in the campus, so faculty is starting his video, he is performing his experiments in front of, along with the lab assistant, and he's showing the practicals, and then he's sending the data, prerequisite data, to the student, and student are you can say feeling those particular data after visualizing. Then innovative online teaching, online examination, it is a need of an hour. There may be the different types of question, objective type. I generally avoid asking my faculty member to do that. Open textbook. Yeah, just 1 minute.
So sorry, I'm cutting in. We are a little overboard with time. So if you could just conclude it.
1 minute only, right? Only 1 minute, not more than that, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, sorry for that, but 1 minute. Yeah, open book test is one of the good solution for this, and even giving a different theory questions to them. Then yeah, online project exhibition is one of the solution for that. Online internship with the industry, which we are doing. Then online proctor meetings, every 15 days our proctors are doing the meeting with the faculty, with the parents. Then pre-placement workshop, online PPW training, engaging student on virtual national platform. So just last slide, this is how the exam is going to get conducted. My students are giving the exam online, if you can see, and I am on the screen. I can visualize their parents are along the side of their screen. It is mandatory. Then a lot of virtual things are happening. Our students are participating in national level, at least 3 to 4 competitions simultaneously. Students are participating and winning. At the same time, online is one of the boon, I will say, if it has taken it very effectively and positively, with some of the modifications which we need as a teacher. That will be my concluding session. With a positive note, I will say that if we have got the blended, that is online and offline, so whatever online we have learned, we should keep it, and whatever offline advantage, we will keep it. After COVID, if we utilize this, this is a great opportunity for teacher, student, and industry. With this note, I thank organizer for giving me more time. Thank you.
Fantastic, Dr. Methan. That was wonderful. We cannot express, because two things that you said, which stuck in my mind: pariksharthi versus vidyarthi. So it's not only about examinations; it's about learning. And like you rightly mentioned, you stressed upon the point wherein teachers need to refresh themselves. And trust me, looking at your presentation, we are completely blown out of our minds, because you've done such an extensive research. You've collaborated the data and you've gone ahead and presented it here. It's a data mine right with you right now. So it's fantastic. You're walking the talk. And that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Methan. I would request all the students who are there listening, if I was in your place, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and ask Dr. Methan to share his PowerPoint with us, so that we can benefit, because it's such a knowledgeable source of data that he's created. It was wonderful. But again, from Pariksharthi, let's come to the elephant in the room. Pandemic definitely has gone ahead and given stress to a lot of us, especially the student community. Because as the culture prevails in the country, that you study hard, and what next, right? The placements, the elephant in the room. So I have somebody who's the right person to speak on this topic, because the gentleman, doctor, is looking after CITT. And as he rightly mentions, that it's not about just going ahead and giving placements to students. It's about changing the entire outlook towards the placement. So CITT, under his guidance, is connected with alumni. It's connected with the industry leaders. It's connected with a lot of trainings, mentoring, and much more. Because for him, placement does not mean just getting your offer letter. It means a growth of career building, where your life starts. So please, let's welcome Dr. Wagmare, who has a completely fresh outlook towards placements, and with his plethora of gargantum experience. Dr. Wagmare, I'm sure the students are just waiting to hear what you have to say, and all of us too. Please, thank you so much for being here, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ashish. Good afternoon, panelists and all the participants. The topic is a placement scenario. The COVID is the situation, has made us to talk on this placement scenario. Everyone knows the placements is the placement center, or the placement is always the center of the attraction of an institution. And I'll be touching to that point. It is the topic of everyone whoever takes admission, at the same time leaving the institute, they talk about the placement. Our institutions objective is not simply the placement. It is the placement is one of the part of the career building. So that's what I mentioned. And I'll be touching to that point also. It is the CITP, Center for Information Training and Placement. In the end only I'll be touching to that what we have done and how it is useful to the all the institutions. So, and then the total scenario is changing, and we will be talking on the scenario. Again, here we are concerned with the placement, and again that is limited to the placements in the corporates. It's the placements in public sector, placements in the government organizations, UPFP, MPCs are there. Then there are the self-employments and the higher studies. So out of that, placement is one of the part. Placement, though we say that it is the one of the part, but it covers around 90%, 90-92% the total portion of it. And then the few percentage the people are going for the self-employment, and then again the students are preparing for the higher studies and all these. Now here I would like to talk on that, the placement scenario, and then the what is the campus placement offers, and then how it is affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. So in the light of rising concern about the COVID-19 spread, many companies have put hold on their placement process. Colleges in India are facing a touch year ahead with the disruptions in their campus recruitments as the pandemic affects business worldwide generally. Most business and engineering schools conduct campus placements between December and April every year. While students have been placed, some still struggle to find a good job offer. This is the situation of every institution. However, due to the prolonged lockdown to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, few companies are deferring the offers made. Some have withdrawn offers made already. Still, there are companies also that are honoring the offers made to students. So the many large companies, including technology giants such as the TCS, Google, Wipro, Capgemini, Tech Mahindra, Accenture, and so on, are honoring their job offers. They are not deferring it. Made to campus hires despite weak revenue outlook caused by the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Virtual onboarding across the world is working well for some companies. The senior leadership is currently monitoring the situation and leveraging technologies like telepresence and video conferencing to ensure business continuity. When we talk about the present situation, the companies, those are the global IT companies, are now on a national level platform for recruiting freshers such as the TCS or the Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, Flipkart. They are having their own platforms. This allows candidates from tier 2 and tier 3 cities to prove their talent. Earlier it was not happening. Earlier they used to come to few institutions such as, take an example of the College of Engineering Pune or the IITs or the ASSMS, but those were limited institutions, and now the openings are even to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They require the skills. Skills are playing a major role in recruitment. Students have to parallel focus on boosting employability skill along with the academics, so that is required. Then I suggest to students that the programming for all, as the entire industry is switching to automation, so we make sure students from the core domain also focus on programming, not necessarily only the computer students or who wants to be there in the industry programming, but everyone at least should have the knowledge of the programming. So the basic programming is the C++. So go for it, make a command over it, whether the person is from the core or the mechanical or civil or any branch, but that should not affect. So programming, it has to be there. Salary trends increase in IT, but as the Sir Garg sir mentioned, that the salaries are increase in IT but stagnant in other domains. Even in IT, some companies are offering similar packages to what they have offered 2 years back, and that is based on the data that with me, that the last year or the before pandemic, the packages, and then the right now the packages in IT also, people are getting jobs, but the jobs with the low packages. So that is the one thing that we observed. It is the situation. So today jobs are there, but students have to know what job role they are suitable for. For that, employability assessment is a need of the hour. So the employability assessment, there are various tools, such as the ICAT is one of the tool. So similar, there are tools, and they really give us the proper assessment of the student, and then we can ask our students, or we ourselves will be having a plan to build students or the where the students are weak, so that can be also taken up. So now here I am touching to the my area, that is the Center for Information Training and Placement, which is a unique title, which is not normally seen in every institutions. There are the training and placement department, or the training placement center, or that is very common. Even the AICT, their document, they also say that TNP. The government organization, they also call it as a TNP. But we are having, it's not in during the pandemic, but the this organization or this construction has made us to work beautifully during this pandemic and right now also. So to this center, the various committees have been attached. Those are the placement is the one of the, then the industry institute interaction. Placement is always there. So placement again, that takes care of the all the kinds of placements, corporate placement, the government placements, and all these, or they are exposed to about it. So industry institute interaction, that is very necessary. This industry institute interaction, where almost all the faculties are involved in this interaction. We have one of the way that one faculty, one industry, where the at least the faculty is in interaction with the one industry. So that is the and due to that interaction, we are having very good outcome. Alumni engagements, these alumni are really helping to us, and wherever there are the alumni real engagements or the good relations with the alumni, they are having very good inputs for the placements. Competitive examination, this is the one of the part of the career building. So few students, they also go for the competitive examinations, and then they go for the other placements. Entrepreneurship and skill development is the buzzword nowadays. There are ministries as well. So entrepreneurship, where we are leading, or we should try to take students to the entrepreneurship, but that routes through the skill development, and then the training is the unavoidable part of the total career building. So wherever the students are lagging, there is the training, and that training is the necessary part of each and everything. Counseling and mentoring is one another group or the committee that is also attached to the CITP, Center for Information Training and Placement. So here our objective is to provide training and placement to the students, and at the same time the organizing activities in order to improving the employability of students, and also look forward for self-development leading to total career building. It's not only the placing them in one of the industry, but they should feel that yes, I'm coming out from the institution, and I'm it is with the pride, and our objective is that the 100% students, whoever is leaving the institution, either the student should be placed or self-employed, he can also join the family businesses or going for the higher education, but somewhere the student has to be there, and coordinating various committees. So that is the one of the role of the Center for Information Training and Placement. Now coming back to the situation of the mass recruiters, because here I wanted to highlight a few things, that the mass recruiters such as TCS and all these. So every engineering college student would be familiar with this term about the mass recruiters. In the first year of the college itself, it's a popular generic term tagged with some of the biggest companies who recruit in campuses in India. And nowadays we also see that in newspapers also, the TCS is going to hire 40,000 students, 40,000 freshers, or the Cognizant is also going to hire this number of freshers. Infosys also. So we should not avoid as a core, as a from the mechanical or civil or anything, we should not neglect this opportunity. So we should be ready for it. So when we say that the TCS, but the TCS is itself is the in consultants. It's not only the programming, or that is not only the IT, but their number of opportunities are to even the core students. They are having their own tests. As I mentioned just now, the national qualifier test is NQT to assess competencies and their skills So competence on the core cognitive processes required for entry-level jobs that they assess. Then the industry-specific knowledge and insights, and then the specialization on skills required to perform various job roles. So when the student clears it, either they get job in the TCS, or that score is also considered by various small industries parallel to those. So that is the one. Then the InfyTQ by Infosys, the one of the one or two examples that I am giving is a next generation learning and engagement platform for engineering students in India, geared to help them increase their technology quotient and be industry ready upon completing their graduating studies. It is also for the entry level. So TCS, this NQT, InfyTQ is for of the Infosys, such as there for the Wipro, LIT, and TH. Similar platforms are there of the Cognizant, then the Capgemini, and such mass recruiters. So mass recruiters are really doing well during these pandemics, and we should be prepared for it. Again, when we say that, and we all know that though we complete our graduation in mechanical or civil or electrical or electronics, after that when we come out from the institution, then we work on the systems. So systems, it's not only limited to that particular discipline, but it covers the most of the things. And when the student can integrate all this knowledge, then only the student is successful. So core domain, so based on my experience or ours experience, so core companies are coming less after or this during pandemic, or the domain specific, those are also less, but and their placement is also slightly or the relatively less than the IT based companies. So this is the one relative data. This is the situation of the placement, and this is almost similar everywhere, whether it is in Pune or somewhere. But this helped us a lot to enter into the IT to all kind of students, whether tier 1 or tier 2 or the tier 3. So this is somewhat I'm trying to highlight the situation of the placements. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my views, and that is again based on my own experiences over here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wagmare. That was really enlightening, and it answers a lot of questions, because scary times. Students have a lot of questions with regards to placements, and you've given some wonderful insights. I'm sure if time permits and we have a Q&A session after our last speaker, I am sure you would get a few more questions with regards to this.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Dr. Wagmare. That was wonderful. Now coming up to our last panelist, right? So I'm not gonna go ahead and give you a biography of our last panelist, because if I start doing that, I don't know, I might consume all the time left in this webinar. The illustrious list is huge, but what really caught my eye here was, the next panelist is going to talk about how to tackle exams, and who better than the person who started International Association of Hydrogen Energy student chapter as a student, right? Under the guidance of and mentorship of Professor L.M. Das, IIT Delhi. He has supervised not one, not two, not three, okay, hold your breath, 7 theses in alternative fuels. And the list just keeps going on and on from there. So, without much ado, let's go ahead and let us all welcome Dr. Rohit Singh Lather. Dr. Lather, welcome. We just want to listen more from you now. So please, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ashish, for such a scintillating introduction of me. I just wanted to share my screen and so respected Pamela Tikku ma'am, a distinguished panelist, I would like to start my presentation for today. So how to tackle exams. Now, exams have always been a Achilles heel of students, however intelligent they may be, but exams still pose a stress and anxiety to them. For a for an advanced learner, it is how to follow the class. Yeah, it is visible now. And for a weak student or a slow,
Yeah, it's visible. Everybody to mute. Only let Dr. Rohit speak now, please.
Okay.
So for a weak student, it is to pass the exam and maybe score 6 CGPA or a 7 CGPA, maybe jump from a smaller CGPA to a higher CGPA. And for a intelligent student, it is to get the rank or a 9-pointer or a 10-pointer. So this is there. So this is why exams always happen to Achilles heel of students. So I've made the presentation from a student's perspective, highlighting some of the aspects. So let's start with the defining what is an exam. So I've taken 3 different definitions. So written, spoken, or a practical test of what you know or can do, or a set of questions or exercises evaluating skills or knowledge. And if I talk about the best definition, which is given by the Oxford Dictionary, so formal, written, spoken, or a practical test, especially at school or college, to see how much you know about a subject or what you can do. So exams have now shifted from the traditional way to the online. So we have online test that is getting conducted. So we have different patterns, different universities and colleges are following different online platforms. But the overall idea of an exam is to evaluate the skills of students. So it is not just to write an exam, type in a box, or maybe select an MCQ. So MCQs have become quite popular, but MCQs I consider as a question of choices and probability, because often during the quizzes I have observed that even the poor or slow learners have done better than the advanced learner at times when you have put quite good tough questions, because if you are giving 4 choices over there, so probably one will be correct. So every choice has 25% probability of getting correct. So when we do an assessment or an exam, so what a student is expected, so he, as a student, we often think that okay, we have to just write an exam and clear it, we have to learn some things, we have to learn some concepts. But from a teacher's perspective, for a student to know that we are trying to assess that what all skills he has learned. So first and the foremost is understanding any concept that is taught to him. So ability of a student to understand a topic and efficiently express it during the assessment or an exam. Critical thinking skills, which have become quite popular these days, which everyone is talking about as a course outcome at university level. So analysis of a problem which is given, interpretation, inference, and evaluation of a critical thinking based question given, self-regulation, open-mindedness. So all these things are critical thinking skills, and students are expected to know while they are answering the exam. It is not just writing what they've learned in the book or in the class. No, let's say a very simple question, because we are on the automotive platform. Now if I were to ask a student a question, state the working of a CRDI, common rail direct injection fuel injection system. Now this is one way of asking a question. Now the other way of asking a question is an automotive manufacturer is planning to launch a SUV in the market, which is going to do an off-roading. So which fuel injection system will you select? So this is a critical thinking based question. Now, which type of fuel injection system he should select? So he needs to analyze, he needs to interpret, and then he needs to give away the solution. Problem solving skills, which have now again become very popular, and these are one of the most important skills which often recruiters look for: the ability to tackle unexpected problems which might be asked in question in the exam, and resolve conflict. Now, resolving conflict is not particularly between two people, it could be resolving conflict between design or something which is more relevant to the topic. Then writing skills. Often I've seen that students who take up engineering background often claim that they have poor writing skills just because they don't they're not doing a English course over here, they are not from sciences, they are not from arts background. But that is I think it seems to be a bit of a more of a lame excuse, because expressing oneself clearly is as important in an engineering trade, because if you are not able to express correctly, you may convey wrong information in the long run, and that can lead to an error. So writing skills in general, explanation skills and technical skills both play an important role. And while assessing the exam, either in the conventional method or even in the online mode, I particularly myself put a lot of effort on the grammar they have written, on how they have communicated the important aspects, and then visual understanding. Often these days we talk about data analytics and data visualization. Now, when we give questions in the exam which are graphical based, now students should be able to understand and visualize the information and express it. So these are some of the skills that we expect when we evaluate or assess a student during the exam. Now, online test management systems have become very popular, like we call LMS. We have OTMS, online test management systems. So two of the very popular are Mercer Metal, and then we have VBox, and then there are a list of OTMS systems, but Mercer Metal and VBox have become quite popular. Mercer Metal specifically, I will say, has become quite popular among international and national universities for assessment of exams. Can we move on to the next slide? So first and foremost thing is assessment of the question paper pattern. So students, generally the question paper is divided into three sections: Section A, Section B, and Section C. Now, Section A happens to have short questions, one-liners, true and false, fill in the blanks type. So it happens to have 30%. Now, the question paper can be of 100 marks or it can be of 50 marks. So, but the general weightage is somewhat similar. Then we have Section B, which happens to have long descriptive essay type question papers, which questions which often have diagrams which need to be explained. Then we have Section C. Now, Section C happens to be a differentiator, as in what differentiates a slow learner from an advanced learner, and the weightage generally happens to be a 20% weightage. It can have short and long type questions. So the weightage is 20%. So this is the general pattern overall in any question paper. Whenever we design it, 60% of questions are given in such a way that everyone can answer, and 40% of the questions are such that advanced learners or a bit more students who have a bit more knowledge can actually answer them. So when we talk about an exam, so generally it brings to our mind an anxiety. So what is anxiety? It is body's response to fear, unusual, fearful thoughts. So how to deal with it? So one of the very simple way to deal the exam anxiety is by deep breathing exercise. So how do you do that? Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. While breathing, so you will be expanding your stomach. So hold on your breath for 4 seconds again, and then breathe out through your mouth for 4 seconds. So this is a very simple exercise. So while practicing this deep breathing exercise, you need to focus on inhaling and exhaling and how your stomach expands and contracts, and this will help you in improving your concentration. So this is a very simple way of dealing with the anxiety during the exam. Now I have divided tackling the exams in certain sections, keeping them very precise and crisp. So before the exam, we talk about preparing for exams. So like probably exams are a week or 2 weeks away, so we talk about revision and practice. So first of all, you get the date sheet for exam. So you need to mark your dates on the calendar. You need to know what the format is. One of the format which I have shared is very common and very popular amongst the universities across India. So plan your time and other related activities which are important for you. So while learning, you need to learn the ideas and concepts and not just cram up the text that is given there in the presentations or maybe the class notes. Make a summary of checklist which is important for that specific concept or maybe for a specific course. Then you need to plan and revise and treat it as a job, not just a additional exercise. So revision is an important aspect. So moving on to the next phase, we'll talk about some revision techniques. So I've shared one simple revision technique. So this is called as the Pomodoro technique. So it is very popular these days. So as to revise, so you pick up a task, you do it for 25 minutes, set the timer, work upon the task, then you take a break for 5 minutes so you can revise your topics, whatever you have to revise, whatever topic you need to cover. So you can take this, use this technique. So generally plan the complex material which needs to be done when you have time and when you're fresh. So time is important when you are dealing with complex material, complex concepts, and you are fresh. When you are planning to revise your easier material or easier concepts, then you may have less time, and even if you're tired, you can do that. So easier material and concepts are easier to understand. So then this is one way of revision. This is what I suggest. Then work upon each topic. So each topic have their own key issues, concepts, practices, theory, facts, key terms and formulas. Often it has become a standard practice that certain formulas are and data is already provided in the exam. So it is not like the 10 years back you would have to cram up the formulas or you would have to take your data books with you. So data is generally given these days. So connection between key issues, concepts, practice, theories, facts, key terms or formulae, if relevant to your discipline and your exam, you should probably have a look at them. Categorize the information. So there are a lot of charts and tables, and we're often talking about data visualization. So you can use your information or concepts, convert them into tablet, charts, diagrams, flow diagrams and pictures. Use color highlighters, symbols. Now using highlighters and symbols is a very less prevalent practice in India, which I've seen, but this can be very useful while remembering and revision. Use the information to help remember, practicing a formula to understand how it really works. Create revision props, so you can use index card, test papers or blank maps or partial formulas to complete, like fill in the blanks. So that can be a very useful revision methodology. Then planning your exam. So one day before your exam, what should you do? So ensure your equipment is working. Now you could be using a laptop or a desktop or a Wi-Fi router. So all the stuff is working. You need to figure that out. Upload the document. So often on online exams, upload type questions may be given. Generally, we prefer not to give upload type questions because students often fail to upload, and then there is a ruckus related to it that we have not been able to upload the question. So we really need to remake a question paper because of that, because one or two students have not been able to upload. So practice that uploading of document really works for you or not. Ensure that basic equipment such as notepad, pencils for breaking down questions, planning your time and everything else related to what you need for the exam is available. Ensure that you have approved discipline specific equipment for your exam, that is your calculator. And one of the most important thing which often happens is that you need to make sure that what all courses for which you have registered for that specific semester, you are appearing for those courses. You are not missing out on any course, or any additional course might have not been added to your list of subjects. So that is also important. So have a good night's sleep. Make sure that you know where the exam is. Mostly the online exam happens at home, but if you're visiting a place or a center, you need to make sure that you have the car keys, the car has gasoline. You don't want to rush to the gasoline station in the morning, so you have plenty of traveling time if you have to leave early. So make sure these things are there in place. Next slide. Yeah, now creating the environment. So when you are going to a examination center, then probably everything is there in place. But when you are giving your exam at home, so you really need to create that exam environment. So first of all, you should select a place which is away from any distraction. Arrange a table and chair. If a table and chair is not available, at least arrange for a flat surface at your home. So use web enabled function device such as laptop or a desktop which has working mic, speakers and camera, because speakers you'll probably need when the proctor, who is the invigilator, probably would want to pass some information to you or would want to alert you. So camera should be working. Inform everyone in the house that you have an exam. It is a very popular practice that student, people will appear in the background and then the proctor will ask what is happening. So the student will tell that I am having an exam and I did not inform my parents or my cousins. So that is why they are coming in the background. So this is one important aspect. And you should always arrange for a water bottle to drink, because when you are leaving your screen, so all these typical OTMS systems
Dr.
are using AI. So this will really distract them. So I'll be finishing off now because we are overboard with the time.
We have a time.
So yeah. So moving on to the last slide, probably I'll skip that. Okay. So during the exam, so basically there are three type of questions: critical thinking based question, MCQs, and we have the essay type question. So each one of these types has its own set of ways of approaching them and giving answers to them. So you don't have to do a postmortem of whatever you have written, particularly in regard to the critical thinking and problem solving type questions. Then we have MCQs, so you don't have to frequently change your MCQ. Is it A, is it B? And then particularly on the essay type, you need to practice writing an essay for essay type questions, so that'll bring in the best of it. So after your exam, you can relax, you can enjoy, you can catch up with your friends, family members, do activity, any activity that you like. So I'll end with this nice lines from Vardhan Nahi Mangunga, a poem by Shiv Mangal Singh Suman. So क्या हार में क्या जीत में किंचित नहीं भयभीत में संघर्ष पथ पे जो मिले ये भी सही वो भी सही. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really appreciative of everybody here. Thank you all. Thank you to the participants who joined us. We're sorry we went a little overboard with time, but heartfelt gratitude to Srimati Tikuji, all the other panelists, Dr. Wagmare, Dr. Methan, Dr. Lather, everybody here. Thank you so much, Dr. Garg and the entire team. With this, we do not have time to take any Q&A. Maybe next time. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You guys all have been wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for participating and having such a wonderful insight as how engineering students should brace the COVID-19 situation, and now they can prepare themselves for the future. Times are tough, challenging, but then every challenge throws an important aspect of innovation, and I think the faculty has done wonderful job in identifying and innovating the tools of education, and I'm sure students would have been benefited by this. So I am also very confident that these will not go waste. So the moment we come to post COVID situation, we will have a better education environment wherein we will have the tools which have been developed during this time and the physical education part of the whole activity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all for such a wonderful session. It was. Let me say this is the one of the most amazing session I have attended. To keep the motivation on the notes which you all have shared, I have a glance of the same and help us all to keep the momentum on. Thank you all. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Team Vibhu. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Vibhu. Good job done. Thank you.